Now at least 215 people have been killed from Hurricane Helene. It is the deadliest storm to hit the U.S. mainland since Katrina.
Helene made landfall in Florida last week. Its path of destruction spanning over 600 miles in 6 states, with roughly half of the victims coming from North Carolina. And joining us now from Swannanoa, North Carolina, is ABC News correspondent Morgan Norwood, and from Asheville, North Carolina, is our very own Will Reeve. It's good to see you guys. And Will, we'll start with you. 70 people died in that area. What's the latest on the ground?
Well, the latest on the ground is the need as people rebuild. There are areas here that still don't have running water or electricity or even physical access to get anything or people in and out. And so people from these communities and all over the country are coming together to help, stepping up, showing up, and doing whatever they can to get this community through this after the storm.
It is some of the worst destruction we've ever seen and some of the best humanity we've ever seen as well. Morgan, what can you tell us about the area where you are?
Yeah, well, so many people, as Will pointed out, still unaccounted for. You can see the devastation just right behind me. This is Swannanoa. It's a small river town just outside of Asheville, but the search and rescue efforts certainly continue. And I think, Rebecca, what makes this a little bit difficult is the type of terrain that we're dealing with. Mountain terrain, narrow roads, and certainly bridges and roads still impassable. So when it comes down to the relief and the resources that are on the ground, troops that have been called in from all over that are on the ground here are going to be critical. They have the resources, they have the supplies to get to some of these hard to reach areas.
And Will, when you talk about relief, what are some of the biggest needs for that community right now at this hour?
They need water, they need food, they need diapers and other supplies of that nature. And most people right now, they could just really use a shower and a hot meal. I'm at a mobile relief diner from the Denny's diner chain here in Asheville. People have been lined up for literally miles down the street and walking up just to get a hot free meal. They're serving all day. They'll be in the community for about a week. And the joy you see on people's faces, the gratitude as they're overwhelmed by what they've been through and what they still have to face. There's a little bit of respite here as people bring just some little bit of relief in the form of food, water, and supplies.
Yeah, neighbors really rising to the occasion and people coming from all over the country to help out. We've seen nurses and Girl Scouts and everyone. Morgan, President Biden, as you mentioned, has called in 1,000 active duty troops as well. One of the images, it's right behind you, those cars behind you, that's so stark, the X marks where they've checked and there isn't human life.
Yeah, and that effort still continues. In fact, where I am standing, just across the way here, there are first responders that are checking this neighborhood and continuing to do those welfare checks. So, you know, Rebecca, that is the reality here on the ground. I mean, just think about the power of the storm and the power of those raging floodwaters. The river just on the other side of this neighborhood here, those raging floodwaters powerful enough to just toss these cars and these homes around. So certainly there is a real desperation to complete this search and rescue effort here. And that's happening both with just troops, but then also first responders on the ground here.
You talked about the needs, those basic needs of necessities like taking a shower. When do we know power will be fully restored in that area?
Fully is sort of anyone's guess because it depends on the area. In certain parts of Asheville, which is the most populous city in western North Carolina, there are pockets that have gotten their power back, but other places up further into the mountains, they have no idea. They're dealing with felled trees and snapped poles, and they've been told it could be a matter of weeks. The hotel that first responders are staying at near the airport only got power back yesterday. So it's sort of a tragic game of whack-a-mole, figuring out where the power is going to go back on, where the water is going to come from. I think that it's a situation that'll be measured in weeks and not days.
Our prayers and thoughts go out to all of those impacted.
Absolutely, thank goodness, and we are thinking about all of you, and we deeply appreciate your reporting from there, Morgan and Will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.